Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Bob Davis. He's the founder of Sales Up for Cancer. He himself is a two-time cancer survivor, and it's his first time on the show. So, Bob, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks so much for having me.
So let's start out by telling everybody what Sales Up for Cancer is.
Well, Sales Up for Cancer was a vision that I had to go out on my own and start something that could give back to the community and to other people, all right, that were going through cancer as a part of my passion of sailing. I'm an avid sailor. I've been an avid sailor for years. And I used to be, my first cancer that I got diagnosed with was leukemia. And when I called up the Leukemia Society, they told me that they had a regatta. And if I was a sailor, I would do well if I participated in it.
Is a regatta basically a sailing race?
Right, exactly, yeah. Right, and we do that out
But
here.
even when you're a sailor, it's all fancy. You got to call it a regatta and not just a race, right?
Well, yeah, you can call it a race regatta. How about we do that? We meet in the middle, yeah, or RR. And so I got involved with them and loved the group that I was working with. And what happened subsequent to that was I became the two-time chairman. I became friends with members that were founders of a new yacht club, and then eventually I became the commodore of that yacht club.
Wow.
I like to achieve. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is we had a falling out with the Leukemia Society. The group of sailors down here in Mystic, Connecticut, had a falling out with them, and Mystic Leukemia Society went south, and we were really without a regatta. So we did pick up the Hospice Regatta, which is another great charity, tremendous charity. And Sales Up for Cancer is a contributor, as a matter of fact, to the Hospice of Southeast Connecticut. 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, I got diagnosed with my second cancer, which was esophageal cancer. All right, and that really kicked my butt. And it was during that period of going through my chemo and radiation. Obviously, I couldn't sail. I have a boat. I was thinking of getting rid of that. I said, I missed the Leukemia Society. I want to do my own thing, so I can go once again help. And then this way, we can determine where the money goes and how we can support people with with cancers, cancer care, and cancer research.
What's amazing is that when a person, never mind get diagnosed one time, but when they get diagnosed twice, like you have, and on top of that, you're split from the organization that you were involved with, you would think that if there was ever a reason to kind of just give up, not on life per se, but just give up on the enthusiasm, you did the complete opposite thing. That almost was like a motivating tool for you.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like when you do get diagnosed with your second cancer, it is a hit.
Yeah.
And you can give up, and you have your moments. Trust me.
Right.
You have terrible moments of depression. That's another thing where I like to be an advocate and talk to someone that's going through that, because it's only normal. Or if you want to use another word, it's typical to go through that. But it's sort of like, if you remember that Rocky, and I think it was Mr. T, when he's screaming at him, he says, "That all you got? Yeah. That all you got?" So I think it was the same thing with me with the cancer. That I got hit, and then things were as bad. And
you were probably down on the canvas, but then got up, right?
Well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you
Either
can't be a quitter. I mean, you got a lot of people that love you. And if you're surrounded by people like that, you need to be around for them. And, the idea of paying back is so important to me. So, you've got a story to tell like we're doing now, all right? And you want to share that with others so that perhaps you can inspire them to, what you want to team up with you, want to know what is it that made you beat your cancer. How did you do it? There's a lot of things that go into that.
When a person gets diagnosed with any disease, much less cancer, do you take a vested interest at that point in learning all you can about it and how things are going with research and treatments and things like that, so that you can have motivation to maybe see that you have a future?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You learn a lot about the disease.
Absolutely.
Read all you can about it.
Right. Well, your doctors will tell you, stay off the web.
Oh, really?
That's the first thing. Yeah. Well, the first thing when I was diagnosed with leukemia, And the type of leukemia I have is what they call CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And it's a long progressive leukemia that kicks in and affects the immune system, et cetera. So when I read about the CLL on the web, I'm reading these stories about people diagnosed, and 3 years later, they're no longer here, and 5 years later. So there's the panic button.
Right. So that's why the doctors are saying, don't be reading that stuff.
Exactly, because everyone is different, which is true. All right, but if you can, if you can keep it in perspective, the web offers so much information in terms of now you could, let's say, find out what hospital has got the cutting edge research for CLL.
Yeah.
Rather than just going to a generic hospital, you might want to say, hey, I've got this disease and I really, really want to nip it in the bud. And there's a hospital in Texas that specializes in CLL.
Yeah, you can learn a lot.
See, and I think that's very, very important.
I think one of the worst things about the web is when people try to self-diagnose themselves because they got a bump or they have an itch and they decide that they're going to do some research and discover that they have an alien parasite or something like that.
That's their personality. You can't change leopard spots.
Yeah,
that's true. If they're going to be like that, even if it wasn't for the web, okay, they'd be doing something. The Encyclopedia Britannica before we had the web or something like that to find out what self-diagnose themselves.
So you really got into it. You were diagnosed, and this is after the first time. You started just learning as much as you could about it,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Correct. Right.
And then,
even though I had leukemia, it was interesting when I met someone else who had leukemia.
right.
And then I became successful. I became the leading fundraiser. And as a result of that, I was able to go to the national conventions, if you will, which was called Fantasy Sail. And that was where a very, very famous sailor, Gary Jobson, America's Cup winner, friends with
Out
Ted
of Newport?
Turner.
Right.
He lives in Annapolis, but the regatta at that time,
There's that
or
word
the
again.
America's Cup, was out of Newport. And I got to meet him, and then I got to meet people from all over the country that had either lost someone from leukemia or went through leukemia themselves. And being able to share that experience, now you were like, and we just had Memorial Day, and we know what the phrase "band of brothers" means, okay? And it was like that. Now you've got comrades, if you will.
Right.
You've got friends that have empathy for one another, and so we stayed in touch. And then
A support group, basically.
exactly, right, and it was just across the country. And then it became just more than the leukemia connection. Then it was anyone. So if I went to a party, if I went to a gathering, if I went to an event, and I met someone and they said they were just or they had been diagnosed with lung cancer, I'd go to a corner with them and I'd want to pick their brain. I'd want to talk to them.
Yeah.
All right. And I'd want to share with them, well, how did you handle your fears? How did
You were hungry for information about this. You did the exact opposite of feeling sorry for yourself. It sounds like you got up and and learned and talked to other people, talked to support groups, decided to help out other people. It's amazing. You did the exact opposite of feeling sorry for yourself. And I know you said you had your moments.
Right, I was just going to say, Sean,
Yeah.
I really appreciate the compliment there. But again, you do have your moments. And you need to, see, in other words, what I could pass on to someone now who's just diagnosed and going through that moment, all right, is that I had it and I know exactly how you feel.
Yes.
All right, I know it's not easy. Stay the course. 4 o'clock in the morning, you wake up and you feel like, you can't take it anymore. Here, call me.
Yeah.
Whatever time it is, whatever you want, call me. Let's chat. We'll talk. We'll tell each other jokes. We'll get together.
And you got some good jokes too.
Yeah, right. But so I think that's again, within the support group. I didn't actually join any support groups.
No, it's just a
I'm
matter
not-
of just talking to like-minded people.
Exactly. Yeah. So and that was and that got me through it. Yeah.
A lot of people focus on the individual who gets the cancer, but talk to me about how difficult it is for people close to you in your life, family, friends of a person who is diagnosed with cancer, because it can be very difficult for them too, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think that and I could almost get a little emotional. I think that the hardest part was when I got diagnosed with leukemia, I never told my mother. Okay, when I got diagnosed, and I never
Sparing her feelings? Or
She was too old to have to. She's still with us, but I didn't think that she needed to know and then worry in excess
Yeah.
about me. And I think, if I recall, it took me a few days to tell my wife.
okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Because it's like, I'm going to be okay, I think.
I wonder if she could sense that there was something wrong. You know, someone who's that close to you, unless you do a good job of hiding your feelings. You know,
Well, no, I don't think she
I know you're
sensed it, but I
remembering
think
back.
that when I finally told her, it was, and we told her because we had to go to an oncologist, so
It's
I
hard
had
to
to
hide.
tell her.
Yeah, there's a reason why you're
where
going,
were
right?
you? You know, and I remember, and that was actually her birthday. Okay, yeah, it was actually her birthday, and we spent the birthday in the oncologist's office learning all about CLL and all about the leukemia. But the other thing about it is interesting. Like, I think that what happens is, if you're healthy, it hurts your friends because all of a sudden they may turn their shoulder on you only because it hits home to their own vulnerability.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Now, a long time ago, I lost one of my best friends to Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is now a curable cancer, and it was hard seeing him towards the end. You know, because here we were, like, ball players, athletes, we were friends, kidding around. We were in our mid-20s.
You're invulnerable.
We
You're
all went to
invincible
grammar
when you're
school
in your
together.
20s.
Right, right. And then here was this guy, gets hit with this disease, and you watch him just gradually deteriorate to the point where, he goes into, like ICU. I think he was in Memorial Sloan Kettering. It was very, very hard for us to take. And but when you get a caregiver, the caregiver, in a lot of ways, I think of them as really true heroes.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because there's like a psychological bedpan that you have.
Yep. And they're holding things together for you.
Yeah, and they are, and because for anybody that's out there that's listening to this, don't try to do it alone. And don't take it on your own. In other words, there's too much going on. Your prescriptions, your medicines, your appointments, your insurance, which is a total, chaos in and of itself.
And there's too much support. There are too many good people and too much support groups and things and that can help you to not take advantage of if you're in that situation that are available out there.
Right.
Yep.
Now more than ever. And then also, too, thanks to the web.
Yeah.
There's several, I would say there's probably a handful of support and reinforced groups for each and every cancer that's out there.
Speaking of the web, I want you to give the website out for Sales Up for Cancer, because we're going to bring it, more upbeat in the second segment and talk about Sales Up for Cancer a little bit. What's the website?
www.su4c.org.
All right. Bob Davis, go ahead. You were going to say something?
No.
Okay. Bob Davis is the founder of Sales Up for Cancer, and we're going to get into that a little more when we come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest is Bob Davis. He is founder of Sales Up for Cancer, and that is a fantastic event. It's a passion of Bob's, sailing. You've been sailing since you were a kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, started when I was down in Florida. Always had just a dream. Imagine like wind making a vessel.
Yeah, move
Through the water and, explore the explorers and everything else like that. So I think magnificent. That's what I think, my mission statement is, research, education, cancer care through the art and enjoyment of sailing.
When did you own your first sailboat?
Only recently. Well, actually, when I was a kid, we had a little Sunfish. But only recently, maybe 15 years ago, did I buy a boat that's up here that I keep over at Knowing Village Boatyard.
What were you doing the whole time before that, if it was such a passion for you? Were you just borrowing people's sailboats?
OPB, they call it.
What's that?
Other people's boats.
Is that what you were doing, really?
Yeah, well, right, because of the expense. The cliches or the jokes, boat is a hole in the water you just pour money into. And the happiest days of your life, the two happiest days are when you bought your boat and when you sold your boat. You know,
And
things
so
like
it's really true then that you it's an expensive hobby to have. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you
Well,
love it, then
yeah, you can see like recently the America's Cup. They call it the B Club.
yeah.
Meaning all the billionaires. You know,
That's so true. Yeah.
Right.
If you have to roll out a new and being a member of some kind of a yacht club in general, that's probably not cheap either, right?
Coming from a city like I did,
Yeah.
Patterson, New Jersey, the fact that all of a sudden I'm a member of several yacht clubs is sort of pretty ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the guys that we grew up with sort of went in different paths. You know. And,
You still have the Jersey accent. You didn't get the yacht speak, like, you know.
no,
Buffy. Yeah, exactly.
no,
That's
no.
that's exactly it.
Not just
Buffy,
yeah,
bring
yeah,
over
yeah,
the
yes,
yeah,
yes,
the
it's not-
caviar.
It's not quite. Yeah, I do go yeah sometimes. You know, like,
But it's
yeah,
more like yeah, you know.
yeah. And I do have the pink shorts and the
Oh, really?
yeah
Well,
yeah.
well, I mean, if you're on a sailboat,
Yeah, pink shorts and a black leather jacket.
yeah, there you go. There's the Jersey in you.
Right.
So, yeah, sales up for cancer. This was, you know, unfortunately, because of a falling out, you started your own charity events.
Correct. Right. And I got to say that it really wasn't hard. You know, we're a legitimate, obviously 501c3. Okay, that was probably the most difficult part.
Going through the red tape of it, you
Yeah,
mean?
I had tremendous support with a very, very dear friend of mine who was our attorney and walked it through us, and it was, you know, and then all of the people that I know, I just went out and said, here's what we're going to do, and here's why, and started knocking on doors and started raising money, and you know, the first year was. You know, branding, if you will, and I think we're continuing to brand.
Right. Getting the word out, right?
Yeah, but now, you know, I could be in a restaurant in town or something like that, and somebody comes by, and then we introduce, and they, oh, you're the guy. Yeah, no, you got, oh, you know, God bless you, you're doing great work. Sales Up for Cancer, what a great organization, you know, things like that. So, you know, and Mystic has been very, very good to us. Very good to us. It's
Now-
great to be in here. Great.
To be involved, you don't necessarily have to be a sailor. You don't have to necessarily partake in the sport or like it. But there are many ways to be involved, right?
Yes, yeah. A lot of people don't race sailboats.
Right.
A lot of
They may
people
go out recreationally, but that's
exactly. And then there's a lot of people who have never been on
right.
sailboats and would love to. So one of the visions that I had, and it hasn't really come to fruition as much as I would like it to, and that's like cancer survivors, cancer patients, providing that they're, you know, reasonably healthy enough to go out on a boat. If I have someone that wants to participate in the regatta, okay, to watch the race, okay, and I'm contacted by that person.
Is it like a pit crew guy kind of in a way?
Yeah, right. Well, no, then they can go out on the picnic fleet.
Okay.
All right, and the picnic fleet are made up of, like, again, recreational sailors that would like to go out and take a couple of passengers with them and, you know, explain the art of sailing, explain what the racers are doing, and just spend a really nice day out on the water. And especially if they're going through radiation or chemo or have been past that or have just gotten diagnosed, it's a real relief, you know, and a distraction from the, you know, the problems that you have
Yeah.
and that you're confronted with.
It kind of makes you feel like you can still participate in life in general and still have fun, right?
Exactly. And especially if it's something new. Anytime you do something new, I think it's an exciting venture. And, you know, that's a big part of it.
So when is the regatta? How often does it happen? Give me all the details.
Okay, the regatta is this year, it's June 21st. It's always the last Saturday, I think that is, in June.
The weather's just nice enough at that point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's an ECSA sanctioned race. And when you're into racing in this area, that's Eastern Connecticut Sailing Association. And points are awarded accordingly for you know, the boats that participate. So at the end of the year, all of the different regattas that are run by the yacht clubs, et cetera, all right, and the season pretty much starts maybe right about now almost. they're accumulated, and then they award certain trophies to those that have participated in the most regattas, that those have garnered it's on a low point system, the least amount of points, and it's a great organization, and there's a lot of participation.
Even though it's a charity event, are there people that participate in it that take it very seriously, that want to win?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's the best part of it.
Is that right?
Oh,
Really?
yeah, the cutthroat, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
Guy maybe
yeah.
bumping somebody or something.
Absolutely, yeah. Wants to cross the line because they want the points.
Yeah.
So there is like an element of very highly competitive
Are you one of
sailors.
those people?
I'm competitive, but I don't really have the boat, and in this
Right.
regatta, I don't race.
Okay.
Because
You're the organizer, right?
well, yeah, I go out on like a photo boat or a spectator boat because part of while we have the regatta going on, all right, and this is another big part of it, we entertain the Sunshine Kids. Now these are the kids in Connecticut, Rhode Island, that have cancer. We charter the Argia, the schooner based in Mystic. It holds 49 people. We chartered that for a period of time to watch the race. We bring the children out on it. All right, they can watch the race with their caregivers, with their family, and then they go back. This year they're going to go back to the tent, and then in the last 3 years we've had Mystic Pizza and Mystic Drawbridge Ice Cream have catered their lunch.
Nice.
All right, and they're greeted by the pirates from the seaport and the freemen of the sea. All right, which is a big gap.
They don't try to take over the boats, though. They're just friendly.
Oh yeah,
pirates,
but they fire a cannon.
Oh.
And the kids don't know.
Oh, wow.
See, so when the boat comes back up the Mystic River to the dock, there's
Hey,
the
they're
guys
firing.
banging the drum, shooting off the cannon, and the kids are like all, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. I mean, this is.
How do we fire back at them?
Yeah, and the kids are precious.
Yeah.
They're absolutely precious.
Yeah.
That's one of again. I mean, it's one thing to be, listen, 50, 60, 65, 70
You
years
feel like
old.
you've
they
lived
get
a life, yeah.
Right, diagnosed with a cancer. It's another thing to be 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, and then if I had to Sean, to get off topic for a second here, if I had to define the word horror in the dictionary, you would open it up. Horror would be a parent being helpless while their child is battling cancer.
Yeah.
And just not being able to, hug that child and put a Band-Aid on it, if you will. All right.
Kiss it.
Yes, kiss it, make it better. Put a Band-Aid on it. Like when there's lightning and thunder, the kid jumps in the bed with you. And you hug them and make sure everything's okay. But in this respect, there's a parent and they're absolutely helpless, and I think that's the definition of horror for a parent. But back to that. So that's what we do with the kids. We get a fire truck there from Mystic Fire Department. Usually volunteers the fire truck, and
How do you pull this off? How do you? I mean, you've done it for a while now, so you're getting better at it.
Yeah.
But I would imagine there are a lot of things that maybe fell through the cracks a little bit early on, but slowly but surely, you got a lot of people helping you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the key.
We're getting more and more people.
Yeah.
A lot of people we're on a website, I think volunteer.com, and this was great because I got called by the Navy that up in the USS Dallas here in Groton, and they saw, and because they're in the Navy and it has to do with sailing, it has to do with cancer, there's about a dozen of them. And I haven't heard from them. So if you're out there, call me, please. All right?
Yeah.
And you know who you are. But,
Don't make him have to call you.
Yeah. Anyway, so they came to one of our volunteer meetings and they said, nope, they're going to help, and flipping burgers, helping with the kids, helping with setup. And let's face it, I mean, there's a lot of logistics that go into this, but the biggest thing and the most difficult thing is fundraising.
Right.
Okay.
People reaching into their pocket, being willing to.
Exactly.
How about? And you've already mentioned like some companies and corporations. At least in the sense of local businesses that are willing to help out.
My biggest sponsor is Holmgren Subaru.
Okay.
Okay, and their whole family, just tremendous friends, tremendous supporters, and I'm so grateful for everything they do. And then we have a list of all too long to mention.
Are they all on the website?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they are. Yeah, all of our sponsors are on the website, from the largest to the smallest, as well as our beneficiaries.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Good. For where the money's going.
Where the money is going.
At this point, are you still looking for volunteers in
Yes.
any capacity if they're looking to help out?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
And you could probably get on the website and learn more about that too. I'm glad you mentioned Rhode Island before because this show is airing in both Rhode Island and Connecticut. When you're talking about an event that happens in Mystic, you're getting people from both states that are participating in it anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to get the sailors down because it's quite a sail to come down from some places in Rhode there, even Watch Hill
Yeah.
for a race. But we'll get a couple of sailors like that. But volunteers from Westerly, and if I may, I want to say that's Saturday. Now that's just the race.
Right.
Then, as the kids move out, and this year, I'm also involved with the Mystic Blues Festival, as I told you earlier.
We did a show on that. Yeah.
Right. So, what I have this year now is while the kids are having their lunch, the Sunshine Kids with cancer, while they're having their lunch, I have the Mystic Blues Festival, who has the students that have put together a band, and they're coming down to entertain the kids.
Wow.
So it's going to be kids entertaining kids. So not only do these kids with cancer have a day where they were out on the water, watched the race, were entertained by pirates, got to play around the fire truck. They're also going to be entertained by kids of peers,
Yeah.
of their own age, and maybe they're aspiring guitar players or
You're making it
drummers.
sound like so much fun that regular people want to come out and be a part of
Well,
it.
we
And
hope
why
so.
not? And why not?
Well, we hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a fee to get
Yeah.
in, because now I'll explain the big part of it is, so when the kids leave, and even while they're in there, now this is all under a tent,
Yeah.
under a 60 by 120-foot tent at Mystic Shipyard down in Mystic on the waterfront. While this is going on, the volunteers are setting up the long tables for all of our silent auction items.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's a big part of it. A lot of the communities, stores, restaurants, really, cash is one thing, but an item that we can donate, whether it be a sweater, whether it be a gift basket, this all generates income for us.
We're almost out of time. I just want to let you know.
Oh, are
Okay.
we?
Yeah. I'll give out the website one more time so that we make
Yeah.
sure we get that in, because all the information you could possibly want is there.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
All the information. Well, I was going to say that, and then on Saturday night we have a big party. Rock and Soul Review, Dark and Stormy Stations, Gosling's Rum is a sponsor. Parties, dancing until until it's
So the
dark.
cops kick you out, right?
Until the cops kick us out. They haven't bothered us. And then one last thing is on Sunday, we have another big event, and that's called the CAMX. That's a Complementary Alternative Medicine Expo,
Wow.
where we have about 40 vendors that are all involved in integrated medicine for during and post-cancer treatments.
So you got fun stuff and educational stuff and medicinal stuff.
And now it's called, and you'll see it on across the banner on Main Street in Mystic, Sales Up for Cancer Weekend. So we do that on Saturday, then we do on Sunday, and it's free and open to the public. We start off maybe with yoga classes. We teach acupuncture, meditation, diet, and nutrition.
Bob,
Yeah.
we gotta wrap it up.
Right.
But we're gonna put the graphic up on the website again. Bob Davis, founder, Sales Up for Cancer. He's got so much more. We could probably do another show on it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us for another edition of For the Record. We will see you next time. Take care.